Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to this session on rate analysis, which we have been doing. And in the previous class, we had one question, or what shall I say, one request where we were asked about how to do the rate analysis for probably the concrete buildings. Now, before I go into concrete buildings, I'd like to just refresh on some of the things which we spoke earlier. We were speaking about the block work. Now, this is an example of the size of the Aerocon block. Although nobody is lifting it, you can kind of get an idea in perspective how big these blocks actually are. And when you lift them up, you'll find out how light also they are. So when compared to the traditional blocks, you will find that this is just something which is so light, so easy to handle, and not only that, the engineering properties are so much better. If suppose fly ash is a block which has some green standard or sustainability standard, this is much more than that. In the previous session also, we were looking at how the choice of construction material, choice of construction technology makes a big difference. Okay. Now in this also in this today's class also, we'll be doing much the same. Now I'm just again repeating one of the I'm just cutting paste one of the calculation which has been done by the CPWD India Delhi analysis of rates. Okay, so this is an extract from the Delhi analysis of rate. I'm sorry, something is preventing my screen from responding. If you don't mind, I'll just probably let me just open another app. There's some problem with this app as of now. Look at this calculation. Here we are going to do the calculation for a specific what I call as a grade of concrete. Again, look, there is a placing condition. Okay, so we are having the what you call as the specification grade excluding the cost of centering in yeah. So we are going to lay in position cement concrete of a specific grade, and this is up to plinth level. Okay, this is up to plinth level, and usually when you go for higher levels, you know. Excuse me, sir. Yes, please. Sir, unable to see the screen. Unable to see the screen. Okay, thanks for telling me. Let me just see what is the reason. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I forgot to share the screen. Right, guys. I'm terribly sorry. Thanks for the heads up. And here we go. Right. Hopefully you are able to see the screen, guys. I hope you are able to see the screen. Yes, sir. Great. Thank you so much for this one, and I really appreciate you telling me this kind of things. All right. Now, let me let's go on. Now, what we're doing is so yeah, maybe I'll just showcase again. So here they are very specifically mentioning under what circumstance this particular calculation holds good. It means that there is not one calculation which you can use and say this is going to hold good for any of the works. This is a point which I wish to reiterate. It might be that you are going to do it in Vellore, you may be doing it in a particular first floor, you may be doing it in second floor. This was the example, this was the thing which we are speaking about when we are talking in the tiling work. When we are speaking about the tiling work, this was one of the assumptions of, this was one of the statements which we made, right? Now moving onward, now let us probably see the various things which are there. See, all the materials which you use, all the technologies which go into it need to be done. For example, when I say technologies, here there is this concrete mixer. Okay, so the size of the concrete mixer is mentioned. Again, it is having a hopper. Then we have what are known as the needle vibrators, which are needed for compacting the concrete. Okay, now when we are when we miss this cost, okay, it is going to be around 26 rupees which you lose per meter cube. but when you're going to multiply it, you're going to make a huge loss. Okay, so for example, the various mixtures along with your codes. So this is a code given in the Delhi schedule of rates, right? And from the Delhi schedule of rates, yeah, from the Delhi schedule of rates, you take the rate, you multiply to the quantity. How did you get this quantity? Now, in your concrete technology and other subjects which you have studied, maybe even your quantity estimate, you would have found, like the quantities which you of material which you require for preparing a meter cube of concrete. Okay, or for the matter for any other things, you would have done the quantities estimate, and that is what we are doing over here. So for 1 cubic meter, we need to, 0.57 cubic meter of this stone aggregate. So all the other assumptions like bulking, what is the what is the moisture content in the sand, all of those things you are going to take into account. And if you remember, we were always saying that these productivity indices depend on the individual company. In this particular case, this is the estimate of CPWD, and these are also dependent on the technology which you adopt. Okay, so again, water charge and other things, these are all coming into the picture. Okay, now this is only for the concrete, the material concrete which you have done, but there is much more. Okay, so when you're going for concreting, typically you are going to, suppose this is a beam, you have to do what is called as the shuttering. Okay, so this oh sorry, right, so you need to do the shuttering, the box which is going to hold this concrete in place. Okay, now in practice what we do is we divide the shuttering into few kinds. So firstly you have the straight shutter. Okay, and other one is, for example, the inclined shutter you will be doing, and the third thing is the curved shutter. Okay, now when I say straight shutter, soffit of beam, soffit is the bottom of the beam, undersurface of a beam, undersurface of a slab, straight, side of a beam, side of a slab, it is straight. Okay, so flat, straight, whatever you want to take, you take it. Then there is this inclined, like under a stairwell. So you need to position this very accurately so that the concrete is in the correct position. And going beyond, you have the curved shutter. For example, it may be a curved roof, okay, or it can be the lining for a maybe a tunnel, chimney, and all such structures. These are all structures where you are not going to have a straight, flush, flat surface. Okay, now for each of these types, the cost is different. Okay, are you going to bend the shutter? Are you going to make it? Are you going to, what do you call this? Probably use something like nowadays you can use a 3D. I mean a lathe, which is CNC controlled, computer controlled lathes. These are there. Or you can go for 3D printing itself outright. Very simple. You get very good dimensional accuracy. You get all the things, but the strength of the material is probably in question. So the way you develop this shutter is now, like, you have lot of choices. So maybe I should also add the material for the shutter. So what are the likely materials for shutter? May I have a volunteer who will tell me what types of shutter material can be used? May I have a volunteer, please?
So wood, metal, composites.
Excellent. So,
Metal.
yeah, please tell me.
And sir,
1 minute. First it was.
technology, sir.
I beg your pardon. I am not able to hear you. Please speak a little slowly. Right. Wood, metal. These
So
are.
technology.
I'm sorry. Okay, 1 minute. Can you just type it out in the chat? Maybe I can see that. It would be a little easier. Yeah. Yeah, composite material, great. So when I am talking about this 3D printed stuff, it is composite. Wood can be your simple plywood shutter. Okay, I can have my plywood shutter. So I can go for even cheaper quality planks which are used. And in metal you got steel.
Aluminum shuttering, sir.
Yes, steel, and then you got aluminum shuttering, and these are the more common types. And you got also proprietary types of formwork. You have all heard of the Maibon format work, which and also now if you go, I've seen, like, if you go to many of the what we call as the exhibitions, construction material exhibitions, you'll find that shuttering staging material is a very, very big what do you call as a big product. Many proprietary materials, materials have come, which they, I mean, like, it would either be aluminum or steel, but proprietary systems have come. The way the shutter is placed, the way it interlocks with different what do you call as things, so on and so forth. So these are some of the advances which I probably must say has happened in today's date. Okay, so okay, right. Any questions till now? I mean, I don't know. Suppose we've not crossed beyond much elementary stuff. We've only tried to remember most of the basics. But in any case, please feel free to stop me and tell me if suppose you'd like me to give you some more input. Right? Okay. More okay. Moving on. Plywood, steel, aluminum, composites. These are some of the what we call as the types of materials which you use. Now we have classified the shutter into three straight inclined curved based on the geometry. Okay, this I call as the geometry, how it looks like. Then based on the material, you have got also a few types: wood, metal, and composite, so on and so forth. Right? And moving on, I will show you a few photographs to help you understand better. And another very important thing is the place, okay, or position where the shutter is. Okay, the position is very important, whether it is in the soffit or whether it is in the side. Okay, because if you take IS 456, you will find that they define the different times when you can release a shutter. But please remember, I am deliberately not quoting IS 456 in this meeting, because IS 456 is only for ordinary Portland cement. Suppose you add additives. If you are adding an accelerator, if you are doing something like steam curing, it means that the concrete is gaining strength at a much early stage and you can strike the formwork early. In other words, the props which I keep could be reused faster because I adopted steam curing. Okay, now here we again come to one more example of how the use of different technologies or different ways of working with the same material changes a lot of things. Now what is happening here, for example, suppose I have a material that requires 14 days of prop. Okay, so the same concrete, the concrete is requiring 14 days of prop. So this is using material 1. Okay, when I say material 1, it can be the same concrete, or I can change the concrete or do something else. Okay, so when I change the material to say material 2, material 2 can be the same material 1, however with a difference. The difference is that I'm going to do some steam curing. Because I'm doing steam curing, I may gain the strength which I want in 2 days. Okay, so if I just need to keep the props for 2 days. Now what is happening to the concrete? I am increasing the cost for material 2, but I am reducing the cost of props. In other words, at the end of second day, I have removed the props. Fourth day, I could have done the shuttering for the floor above with the same props. Without this system, without using material 2, I would have had to wait till 14 days are over before I can do it. Can you see what is happening to the cycle time? I am not using any what I call as precast or any other system. I'm using a different material. The material is not compromising on the strength. The material is not going to have any performance what you call as difference. What is the base performance requirement, that is going to be met, but the way I did it made a big difference. Okay, now let me go a little further. I can say that there is a cost involved in using material 2 or material 1, but there is a very big savings in time. Okay, so if you have followed any of my construction material management lectures, there is a triangle which I always go. So that is quality, time, okay, and I can say that it is quantity. Okay, now look, what happens is typically the quality is given by specification. The quantity is something which is a requirement of the building, okay, and time is going to be dependent on how much work I'm going to do to what quality. So all the three are interlinked. Okay, now nobody is going to let you play with quality. Quality is fixed. Quality is fixed. Okay, and also the quantity is fixed. If suppose you're going to do a 10-story building, a 10-story building only has to be done, not a 12-story building. So they are not going to pay you extra. On the other hand, you're not going to like it if you're only going to do an 8-story building. So both the quality is fixed and the quantity is fixed, but the contractor can increase their efficiency by playing around with time. Okay, maybe I'm deviating a little. Now if you see the English, the Eurotunnel between the England and France, they managed to do something which was literally considered impossible ahead of schedule. Okay, but unfortunately what happened, the cost became much higher. Okay, so for each of these two things, okay, both for the quality and for a specific quantity, there is a cost involved. Okay, so the cost went up by the time there was a very big saving in time in spite of accidents, in spite of unfavorable conditions. Okay, the contractors managed to make it to time. Okay, now yeah, so now why I just want to stress that we as contractors are in a very good position to what you call as save time or lose time. That is entirely in our own hands. Okay, now a short summary, what we have seen till now is one, the construction technology. Okay, the construction technology is the only thing that determines time. It is the only thing that determines the resources. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If I am going to use a particular technology, the amount of time which I do is going to be affected. The resources which I require is going to be affected. And in this particular case, the resources which are going to vary are these three items. Because I chose this particular technology system for doing a work in this particular area. Okay, now let us quickly just wait for a minute. I'm just going to ask you guys to please ask me some questions. Please shoot out some questions so that we can I mean, like, it will be good. I'm just waiting for you guys to ask me a few questions, please. While I set up the attendance, I forgot to set up the attendance for today. So just give me a minute. I'll be doing that. Meanwhile, I'd appreciate a question.
Hello, good afternoon. So this is Kunal.
Yes, please tell me, Kunal.
So on the shuttering work and everything,
Yes.
most of the people they do it on rent.
Do it on?
So they rent basis. So
Yes,
we tend
correct.
to hire it from a
Correct,
second
correct,
vendor
correct,
and
correct.
then apply it on a.
That's right.
So does the government guidelines have some rates quoted for those instead of, or they just go for buying and placing one?
See, one of the biggest decisions which is one of the biggest things which rate analysis does is it governs the decision on whether we are going to buy or whether we are going to rent rent a construction material, rent a construction enabler. For example, in this particular case, we are talking about shutters. Okay, so when I'm looking at shuttering per se, I can have either wooden shuttering or concrete shuttering. I mean, sorry, wooden or aluminum or steel shutter. So if I take plywood, I may not be having much repetition. Okay, so steel shutter, if I take, maybe I can repeat it 40 times. Suppose the work requires very high quality, what I call as finish and other things. That means I'll prefer not to depend on a shutter which I am hiring from some other party, for the simple reason that the person has already, like, shared it with so many people. And when I look at, it may so happen that, the persons who used it have, mishandled the shuttering material. And when I get it, it is not going to be looking good. When I say looking good, it means that I don't want to use it, okay, because it is not going to suit my requirement, and my employer may reject the material. So what should I do? I should, in this case, preferably get my own. On the other hand, suppose it's a contract where the people who are hiring you out, I mean, taking your services, does not have an option to what I call as, say that you have to be just like this. I will not accept. And I mean, they are not going to worry too much about how the work is going to be done. In such a case, you may hire it because it is going to be much cheaper. So the decision is based on the type of work. Government guidelines will not give you the cost at which you are going to get it. I mean, there might be an indicative cost, okay, because there is indicative cost, but that need not be the guiding cost, or that is not going to be the only cost at which you're going to do the work. Okay, so maybe because you're changing a technology without changing the quality, you could be able to get a, what you call as, a work done at a cheaper price also. So suppose you're going to look at CPWD's works, and they are going to fix price. This is the way they are going to do it. This calculation is only for CPWD's internal working. Okay, this is the assumption which CPWD does. It need not be binding on every other person. The quantity, for example, in this case, the Belder is 1.63 and Mason is 0.1. Okay, so 0.1 need not be the productivity for a private company. I hope I have answered your question, Kunal.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm going to show you some photographs which are likely to, I hope it will help you understand better. Okay, now this, I don't know if I don't know how many of you have actually visited this. This is the Gandhi block, VIT Gandhi block, when it was under construction. And I'm going to show you some of the nice things, because this particular photograph has so many aspects of construction which you are going to talk about. Now look at this. This particular shutter, if suppose this floor was to be constructed, okay, can you see the slab which is here? This slab has had a shutter which the staging for this shutter would have been from, oops, I'll just probably use an arrow. Just a minute, please. Let's see where are the shapes are. So the shutter should have spanned from here to here. In other words, if you see here, this is the equivalent of one floor. Okay, this is the equivalent of one floor. This is the equivalent of yet another floor. Um, 1 minute. Yeah, shapes. Okay, this is the equivalent of yet another floor, and over and above this, you are having one more floor. Almost triple the height of shutter has been done, and in this, that is triple the height of the floor, normal floor height you have done. here you got a what we'll call as a double height shutter. Just a minute. So we've got here the equivalent of a double height shutter. Now if you notice, there are so many levels, there are so many slabs for which you would have had to do soffit shuttering. For each of these, you would have got support for all of your staging work. Okay, so this is the staging work which we have with like a lot of planning involved. Now you should remember that a double height or a triple height shutter is very likely to buckle and fail. Okay, so the chance of failure is that much higher. So you need to be very cautious in the planning. And again, if you notice, all these elements are quite deep. It means the weight of the concrete also is that much higher. Okay. Now, another thing I'd like to point to you, maybe to observe this, you can see that here, let me use a brighter color, maybe the same yellow. Now look at this. This is inclined, right? This is an inclined portion. So this will definitely not have the same ease of keeping a shutter as in other places. Okay, so you will find that there are a lot of different elements, okay, which all go into, this is actually a truss which you can expand and contract to requirement. This is a couplock system as we call it. And so for the staging itself, a lot of effort has gone in. And you can see the shuttering board here. And here they used plywood shutter because many of the surfaces were to be exposed. They didn't have the luxury of reusing many of the shuttering elements. Okay, and maybe one more thing you can see here, there is Aerocon blocks which are being used. Okay, so the building of this nature is going to require a lot of planning. Okay, spans are large, so the element sizes are automatically going to be very big. In the green state, the entire weight of this concrete is going to be taken up by this what you call as the staging, and of course the shuttering boards. Now the name of these runners, I'm not able to get it, it's just slipping my mind, are to be placed sufficiently close to each other, because otherwise the shuttering board itself will start to sag when I'm starting to add concrete. Okay, so when I'm going to pour concrete on this board will start to sag. So it means when it was straight, it would have had a certain value, and when it sags, the concrete which it consumes becomes more. And the worst thing is, when I'm going to do plastering, this is going to have a sag, meaning I might use a little less plastering, or if I'm going to be very particular and say I'm going to give the 20 mm thick plaster throughout, I will be using more of plastering. So the cost of the project goes up simply because I decided to skimp a little bit uh, on the on the quality of shutter. Okay, now look at this, there are some openings in the side. So over here, I hope this color will be seen. Okay, for some reason the pen is not willing to change color. So let me change this pen itself. And if you see here, we are having some inclined shutters. So why are these inclined shutters coming? I will show it to you in a moment. Okay, so this kind of work is very challenging because of the sheer nature of the uh, variability in things. Okay, so when you are going to make a plan for such a work, the work is not going to be the normal cost at all. I'm sure you are going to agree with me, because although the surface which I'm going, the soffit of the slab is the same, the number of what you call as the elements which make the staging itself is that much more. So you need to be very cautious, and this means you have to be in a position to understand construction drawings very clearly. Okay, and one more very important thing, when you're doing a work like this, you also will realize that how will I be able to do this unless I know what is going to come in the ground floor, first floor, second floor and third floor. Okay, example, if suppose you look at this, there is an element over here, there's yet another slab over here before it come here. On the other hand, between this area there is no element number 1. Okay, and the same thing I am proceeding on, I come here, beyond this there's no element 2. Okay, so maybe, yeah, so on and so forth. If you see this area, okay, is yet another different way by which you are going to work, right? Okay, maybe I'll just pause for 1 minute and ask if suppose any of you have a question, please. Do you have any question at this point? Okay, I am proceeding on. So if you look at this, this is another view of the building where maybe I should say in its even younger days. You'll see that I am getting some secondary beams over here. Okay, secondary beams are beams which frame into another beam. Okay, this will become the primary beam, and here you are having the secondary beam. You can see how deep these beams are, and you will again find that here the bottom shutter is put, and whatever is here, this is the side shutter. Okay, this is the side shutter for this element. Okay, now when you are having a slab, you will typically find that there is a beam at the end. Okay, so this is how it typically looks like. So when I'm going to measure the shuttering quantity, the side shutter quantity will be fixed like this. So this will be fixed, and on this side it is only this much. The soffit shuttering, which is over here, will be the same throughout. So I can just measure from end to end and say that is the cost of, that is the area of side shutter which I have. Okay, so when you're doing the quantity estimate, you have to do the side shutter separately and the bottom shutter separately. And one more thing, when I'm going to use, yeah, maybe I'll just show some more things. So if you see, this is a raft foundation. This raft is almost 1 meter deep, more than a meter deep, and so we are actually having to save the concrete, we have given a stepped footing. Okay, so if you can observe over here, there is one more mesh of concrete. Wait, I'm sorry, this color is also not visible. Let me choose this yellow itself, right? So you can see here there is one more box which is coming. Okay, now then now you need to be very careful. It means that we are going to have to look at a construction sequence. What is the sequence? I need to pour concrete up to first level, then I have to pour up second part, then I have to come to third part. So this stepped footing, okay, you can see the steps, I hope. So I'm removing this and I'm again drawing this so that hopefully you are able to see the steps more clearly. Okay, so yeah, so this is the this is the mass, this is how massive this footing is. Okay, so you can see, so even in these areas, so how massive these footings are. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, here there's a completed footing that you can also see, okay, on the left. So this is how this raft is going to be done. Now look at the way by which we have placed the ties. First you have to check whether it's truly vertical, then you have to see whether the cover requirement is also, I mean, like maybe first you see the cover requirement, then you see whether it's truly vertical. And these are plywood shutters. Okay, so these are plywood shutters. You have to strengthen them sufficiently so that they can take the hydrostatic pressure of the concrete. As long as the concrete is wet, the concrete is going to apply a hydrostatic pressure. So the thickness of the material, the thickness of this plywood has to also be checked carefully. What is the learning here? Just because you are taking a measure, okay, side shutter of certain depth, okay, it doesn't mean that it is going to be constant throughout. Where you are going to use, how deep. So for example, had it been a slab just 110 mm or maybe 150 mm thick, it is not going to have as much hydrostatic pressure as a 1 meter deep uh, concrete concrete element. Okay, and as long as the concrete is green, it is going to have to take that load. Okay, so here, of course, another very important thing, of course, the safety nets and barricading which has been done, again, that is your cost. Now, this is another thing which you have to be very careful about. This is again from the Gandhi block. Now, if you see here, this particular block is just a filler material, so that when the concrete is cast, it will not, opening is expected to be there later on. So, you keep these kind of elements so that we don't have to break the concrete later on. Okay, and somebody was asking me about electrical conduits. Can you see the number of conduits which has been put? Okay, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I kind of lost the position. Yes, here it is. Okay, now I think you guys saw the picture which is there. A little bit of the magic may be lost, but anyway, I don't mind it. So, and in the side you can actually see a inclined shutter with the reinforcement also being done. Okay, now, yeah, again here, one more very important thing is, see here, when I'm going to do the concreting here, side, this place also is going to be concreted. So I need to concrete the bottom first and then have to come to the concreting on top. Okay, and this means that a lot of planning goes into this whole setup. Okay, so moving on, yeah, here there is another photograph where I wanted to showcase the way the electrical conduits are usually laid. Okay, one of the things is it looks like central railways, when central railway stations coaching yard. So this kind of work is actually not really correct. You should actually keep it always in right angle so that you know where the cables are running. Okay, now come here. This is an example of how the construction technology is going to influence the rates. Now look at the number of people who are here. This is a very large port. Okay, so what they'll do is they'll keep removing each of these pipes so that you know the pore sequences planned in such a manner that you know you go up to one end and then keep coming towards the place where the concrete pump is. Now look at the number of men who are required. Okay, so you are pumping the concrete, so transportation of concrete has not been requiring any people, but for spreading the concrete, all of these people are using these ropes so that this pipe can be moved to a particular position. Okay, now again you look at the calculation for 1 cubic meter which we worked out. Of course, although this was not for a slab, you'll find that the number of men say doesn't look, I mean, like, you know, it looks zero point 0.1 seems very small, but of course if I'm going to do 1000 meter cube per day, I think you'll kind of get the idea as to how it is going to come. But of course 1000 is a very large number. Let us just say like 100 meter cube per day. You will find that you need 10 people in the mason cadre, and you know the helpers automatically goes up. Okay, so this is just an example to show how this numbers which we get over there is correlated. Okay, now typically the white person, the one with the white helmet is the engineer. Okay, over here, and all of these are unskilled laborers. All these people are unskilled laborers, and you'll have the electrical guy also going around and some safety people. So all of these are other people who are also going to be used in the who will have to be there when you are concreting. Now, any questions, please? Any questions from any of you, please? Let me just see the chat window. Suppose any questions have been coming on the chat. Okay. Okay, there are no questions on the chat. I'm proceeding. Any questions from your side, please? Okay. Now we've seen in this session how all, like what are the ways by which a rate can increase. It could be because of the just by the type of work which you are doing. Okay, maybe like this one where you are having a triple height, double height, and a single height shuttering all in one place. So we don't when we are looking at the staging, it's going to be massive. Okay, a lot of safety features also have to be considered. And after that, we also see, suppose you are choosing the wrong thickness of material, the chances of sag is very high. The chance of sag is very high, and if it is sagging, okay, you are going to run into trouble. If it is sagging, you're going to run into trouble, because you could wind up with more plaster or and also more concrete than what you planned out. Just imagine, because of your poor shuttering, all your accurate calculations are going to, like be it's not going to be working. You'll still find that you're running out of concrete, and that is not a very nice thing to experience. Okay, I'm sure you'll all agree, right? Moving on, moving on. In the next class, I want to show a few things. For example, usually there are a lot of parts which go with this shuttering. So usually the shuttering box comes in some standard, and the code also specifies height beyond which you are not expected to do vertical concreting. So if this is the first pour, then you'll have to have a second pour. Again, let me choose yellow. So you'll have a second pour. Okay, so after you finish the second pour, you are now going to have to do a small portion, okay, which doesn't fit the shuttering box. Okay, and this is easily avoided by standardizing the size of elements. Okay, this is easily done avoided by standardizing the size of elements. Okay, in any case, the CPWD manual of works, from which I had taken this one, will give you the cost for shuttering. Okay, see, for example, here they are giving all the assumption. The assumption of okay, I think this will not have the pen tool. Okay, here. So if you see here, they are giving the contact area which is expected, size of footing which they are assuming, because if the size of footing changes, then the estimate again is going to vary. Okay, so why is that so? Because the panel which you are using, okay, wall panel, the vertical panel which you are using is 1.25 by 500, and here it is 2.7. So 2.7, here I'll get 2.5. That is, if I put two such material boxes together, I get 2.5, and the wall panel is 500 mm deep, and a column is 1 meter deep over here. So it means that it is something like this. I will have the concrete of this size. Okay, so this footing is 2.7 meters wide. Okay, and each of my boxes, each of my shuttering boxes is 1.25. So I need to put two such boxes, and then this will be 2.5 meters. Still I have some 0.1 meters left on both the sides. Okay, now if you look at this is like a very ideal problem, just 100 mm. So I need to put some some other fixtures, and it looks very easy to make up that size. Okay, some channels and other clips and other things which you see over here. So the moment you put all of that, 100 mm will also be taken care of. But in practice, when you go to site, life is never so fair. Okay, life is never so fair. So you will need to change the calculation as per your site requirement. And another thing is, you should also be aware that each company has its own standard. So you also need to ensure that you adhere to your company's standard. Okay, so I hope that you found this interaction useful. And a quick recap, we saw that we are having, for concrete works, a lot of elements. It's not only the concrete which you use, it is the rebar which you put into the whole thing. And also I never spoke about rebar cutting, bending, lifting, placing. Another first thing I should also said is cleaning. removing mill scale, all of these operations require manpower or a certain machinery, because now we got sandblasters or wire, mechanical brushes which clean the reinforcement very nicely. Okay, and then you need to cut it to size. Maybe you're using a lathe, maybe you're still using the conventional method of measuring. Then there is the thing where you cut the rod with physical effort, or you can do the work by using high speed cutting wheels. It's entirely up to you. Okay, and the placing also now is now lifting of the reinforcement is many times done by the tower crane. The tower crane lifts it, keeps it at the place where you want it, if a tower crane is there. And once you do it, the placing of reinforcement is still manual, and after that they check it, and after that only, I mean, like, maybe first operation is applying the, I mean, keeping the shuttering box. Okay, and I don't know whether one very important item is taken care of. One of the very important items is release agent. Okay, so what is this release agent? Release agent is, whenever you are going to use pour concrete, the concrete will stick on to the mold. So if I'm saying 40 times I'm going to reuse my steel mold, and you just, like, pour concrete on the steel shutter, you first and foremost not be able to remove the steel shutter from the concrete, because both of them bond very nicely. That is why we use rebars, steel rebars in concrete. They can make a very good they bond very nicely. So other thing is, if it's plywood, it will still bond, but it will be, when you remove it, the plywood will get damaged. So to prevent it from sticking, we use a release agent. Sometimes people use the spent diesel oil. Sometimes they use other made for release. I mean, like, made for releasing concrete agents, and then they do it. So how you do it is entirely in your hands. So you see, one important item of cost has already been missed out. So then after that we go for the, I mean, so concrete is not only the concrete, it is also the shutter. We saw that where the shutter is being put influences the cost, and also the other things like props. Maybe you go for steam curing or other things, you may find that you are going to be able to release the concrete quickly. Or the sad part is, if you're going to use a material like GGBS, the concrete is going to be very slow. I mean, like, it's going to be very tightly bonded. Okay, it's very difficult to this one. Okay, so any questions from your side, please? Yeah. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining. So we'll whether we are working on May 1st or not, I am going to have my lecture. Okay, so we will be trying to work out some of the details, like, how to get this calculate the shutter. Okay, we'll be just using the same CPWD examples. Okay, because that is something which you are having some what you call as some relevant material at hand. Okay, because most of the company materials are confidential, they may not release it out into public domain. It is their learning, and of course it belongs to them. And CPWD, I guess, being a government body, they have to showcase how they do their calculation. So thanks for joining.